That's all good. That's all good. All right, cool. So yeah, today I'm going to be just talking about like how I like my method of like what stocks to pick and how I view or how I choose to predict the market movement in regards to the stock I pick. And of course, it's an open discussion. So like anything involving like savings, anything involving what how much to save, how much to invest, what's your credit score, all that stuff. Like we're gonna be talking about all that today. It's open discussion. So like of course like ask any question, and I'll if I'm able to, then I'll answer it. If I'm not able to, I'll just straight up say like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So for example, my boy Kevin is the tax man, right? He knows about tax exemptions and things like that. So you would more talk to him about like tax extensions and like how much you would probably owe based off how much income you would have. I think most of those things are online, but you can look at things like that. Um, so with that being said, let's kind of go into it. So one thing about me is I'm a long-term investor, right? I love to invest and then just leave it alone, right? Just you don't have to worry about it for the rest of your life, basically. Um, so everybody who knows me knows I'm a Tesla guy, right? So this is Tesla's chart, right? And here's so what I'm using now is called TradingView, right? It's a website you can easily just sign up for it. It's free. Um, Robinhood, if you use Robinhood does not have this type of data. I would say like these type of graphs and everything like that because it's a simple platform. Which is why a lot of people tend to leave Robinhood and go towards other platforms. I don't. I just go like, okay, I'm gonna just use Robinhood for my actions, and then I can just go to another website for, how to look at the graphs and everything like that. Um, this is, of course, how Tesla looks. For most people that know Tesla, um, Tesla is basically still undervalued. I would say. Um, because it's one of the only companies that always tend to be turning a profit and hitting their quotas and everything like that. Even when they have bad quarters, it's still good quarters if you compare it to most. Um, it's always in a buy because, of course, even though Elon is viewed as like a crazy person, he knows what he's doing. That's one of the biggest reasons why people love Teslas because he knows what he's doing. For example, right, Bliss. The thing about Bliss is Bliss always ends. So you could have viewed it as around this time that the stock may have gone down or may go down. But then you have things like this, where it's like Tesla races across a milestone, where you would think, okay, Tesla is actually going to keep going up from there. So it's always going to be based off of like educated guessing, basically. Like nobody can actually predict when the market will go up, but people can predict it will go up or not, right? They just don't know when. That's always remember that. Nobody ever knows when. It's just more about educated guessing. That's all it is. Okay, so I'm gonna teach you guys how to do my charting. It's very simple. My way of charting is probably the easiest thing you'll ever see. I go by the day chart, of course, because I'm a long term guy. Um, so with that being said, so this is by days, right? So as you can see, you can change how you want the chart to look like depending on what you are. I think if you're a day trader, you more look at like the 45-minute charts or the 30-minute charts to see what direction something's going. So this is the 30-minute chart. As you can see, it only goes all the way back to like, hold on, let me exit this. It only goes back to like May 9th-ish, right? Unless you're like still scrolling like this, you don't want to do that because you don't actually get good data on that. So day traders are always going to be looking at charts like this so they can like make a quick decision on what's going to happen and everything like that on the line. So I like to do floors and ceilings, right? The ceiling to me, the ceiling is basically like where the stock rose to its highest, and The floor is, of course, when it hit its lowest. When it passes the floor, that floor becomes. I mean, my bad, my bad. When it passes the ceiling, that ceiling becomes the new floor. The way you kind of look at it is when you're going upstairs in a house, right? Like I'm on my first floor. If I were to, and there's literally a ceiling right here above me. If I were to go to the second floor, then this ceiling is technically my new floor, and then the third floor will be my new ceiling. So that's how it goes. So with that in hand, the way I would predict something like this, like say if I was looking at Tesla right now, which I am, but it's more like long term, like I said, I would look at Tesla like this, right? So we see here Tesla shoots. Why does this keep happening? So Tesla shoots up. This is around April-ish. I think it hit like 1K. Yep, this is 1K. So this is the highest Tesla has been in at least this year, right? Here, right. So this is our ceiling right here. Lowest it has gone is down here. Okay. So from there, we see what's the highest and what's the lowest. Now, if you are somebody who looks at 4 hour or a day, I like the day. We can kind of see the same ceiling. We see the same floor. Here's the difference now. What I would start to do is like have it in sections, right? So to me, mind you, this is the ceiling. This is the ceiling. If you go back to the 4 hour, right? That's the ceiling here, April 4th. And then we go back to the 1 day. Where is it? April 4th, right? So that's what I view as the ceiling. It has gone down so much, you technically don't want to use this as the ceiling anymore. So you kind of want to make more sense of things. So I look at where it would hit again. So right here, right, as we see, it tried to get there again. It tried to get there again. So I would look at that and go, okay, this is my new ceiling. Something around here, right? So this is my new ceiling, right? So I know two things are going to happen, right? So then we have a new ceiling, we have a new floor. So I'm thinking two things are going to happen. Either it's going to shoot past this ceiling, or this ceiling right here, in which case everything that was in here is now your playground. You can predict that, okay, this becomes the new floor, and then this is the new ceiling. So it may end up going right back up again, right? Same thing happened here. If you look at it, is that once it passes that point, it shoots right up. So we call these lines of resistance, of course. Lines of resistance just means like once it gets to that point, the invisible hand of the market tries its best to like push it either forward or back. So this is the new ceiling. So if I was a new investor in Tesla, I would start to look at probably the next few days to see what happens here. So we saw that Tesla had a good run this past week, as we see it. Like it started to climb up, it tried to climb up. And we see that once it hit that line that it once was at before, boom, it looked like it got shot down. It hit 934 and it got shot down all the way to 903, right? So what you want to do is, for most people, they see that and they go, okay, it's trying to break through this ceiling right here, and it can't. So what are they going to predict? They're going to predict, oh, it's going to go back down. But that's not the case, though. You don't know what's going to happen. So what you want to do is wait at least a day or two, see where things go. Right? You want to see where things go. So I kind of give like my own like thing where it's like, okay, if it hits 934. So let's see here. Hold on. So we want to see the new floor. So what's a good floor, we would say? We would say like probably around here, right? So when I would say here-ish would be pretty good. right here. So let's put in a new floor. Put it right here, 675, right? So we see that Tesla shot up to 939 today, ended at 904, 905 ish, and we want to predict where it would go from here. So the black lines are, of course, the new ceiling and floor that we have for it, and then the blue lines are, of course, the other ceiling and floor that we have for it. So right now we're playing in this area right here. So you kind of want to see what's happening with that. So you would wait the next few days, or you can do something like this, where you, instead of 1 day, you go 1 week instead. Right. So you see that floor and ceiling still, right? We see that floor and ceiling still. We see that Tesla is right here, which means, if you look at it, that Tesla's having a big break. So these are called candlesticks, by the way. So normally when you see a very long candlesticks, when you see very, very long candlesticks, it always often indicates that the direction it's going. As you saw here, green, 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 green. So it built itself up, and then you start to see a lot of long reds. So red, 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 red. Starts to build back down. Green, green, green again. Starts to build back up. Red, red, red. Start to build back down. So now you see more greens again. Right? Now you see more greens again. So if I were to make a prediction, I would think if, and this is the big if Tesla can shoot past this 930, 940-ish, shoot past it, right? Then I would want to buy it, because then I know potentially it goes to 1,153. Because it will no longer be playing in this area that we have already. It'll start to play into this area with this black line and this blue line. It would no longer be between these two black lines. It'll be back to this black line, this blue line. So I can even show you what me and my boy Devon had the other night. So what me and Devon, when did we do this? I think it was at 140. Apple was like down around 145 ish. So we had established 2 lines already. I think I already have them. Yeah, I do have them. Oh shoot. So we already established the 2 lines, 138 to 157, I believe. And then it was going down. It was already going down past the 138 as the line of resistance. So we was talking about like what direction it may have to go into and everything like that. So I told him, like, which is how you kind of got to view it, is that if it goes past what the line of resistance by a good amount, then it would start dropping. It would drop, right? If Apple were to, let's say the day we called it, if Apple were to go past this line, this blue line here, right, and went here, right, then it would have this as the ceiling, this as the floor, and it'd be pretty bad. It'd be pretty bad for people like this. But it didn't. It went the complete opposite direction and went above the line. And I told him, for people who were looking for that resistance line to bounce back, it did. It actually never touched it again. It never touched it. It just kept building. So now we see it's up here now. If you were to, I think we had a $100 and something stock option at that time that we hypothetically talked about, like, because neither of us bought it. So when we first made the call, when we first was talking about it, the call option was about $150, $180, around that, right? So now the option, if you guys can see, if it's not backwards, right, is now $2,335 in value. So from that 180, you would have profited close to 2,200 in about 2 to 3 weeks from that 180. And people assume that stocks and understanding stocks is hard. It's not. It's just educated guessing the entire time. That's all it is, right? don't let all these companies fool you with they have stock analysis people and masters and stuff. No, the economy is a pretty simple thing. You actually learn that in economics class, both in micro and macro, is that the economy is pretty predictable, right? It's pretty predictable as long as you know supply and demand, and of course as long as you know trends, and that's it. It's not complicated. It's not crazy. It's not like, oh my god, I can't learn this. It's not like you can't go on YouTube and watch a 5-minute video and see how to do this, right? There's a reason why a lot more investors are in the market, which is good, by the way, because that means there's more money in the market. If there's more money in the market, then you're going to see a lot more stocks going up. How you knew Ford was going to go up? Oh, I got you. I got you. So let's look at Ford real quick. So Fords were already sold. I sold the stock option today too. So I sold the stock option and I got into thing. So let me look at my exact time I took out the Ford option, because that way we can actually get a more better, I would say, understanding of what happened. So yeah. See, I sold my Ford option today at $325. Yeah, but let me see where we can get it at. So okay, so I bought the Ford call July 8th for $78, if I remember correctly. Right around here. Yep. So it's pretty simple, right? With what I was telling you guys before with the ceiling and floor. So this is July 8th here, right? This is July 8th here. The floor has already been established, right? So bam, that's the floor, and then over here was actually the ceiling. Now it's here, but here was the ceiling. So this was my thought process on it. So around the time, I believe July 8th was let me look it up. Yeah, July 8th was a Friday. Yeah, I remember now. So for me, it already kept hitting the ceiling, the floor so much. So around July 8th, right? Because I already seen this during the week. I think this was also around the time me and Devon was talking. I was looking for it to not go past $10. I was looking for it to like build up back to like 11 something. I noticed that Ford actually was going up past the floor, so I know that resistance was coming. So to me, it was just like an educated guess where, okay, this is all the space that Ford can be. It clearly wasn't going by here, because if you look at these lines, right? If you look at these lines, every time it tried to go past it, it shot back up. Tried to go past it, shot back up. Tried to go past it, shot back up. So this line of resistance was pretty big. So come the 8th now, this is where I bought it, right? It did drop a bit. It dropped like right here the next day. I didn't fear, because that's what options are. It just rises and falls in value. But I knew it wasn't getting any lower because the resistance line was already too good. And to add insult to injury, because I know Ford doesn't move that much, I had it so that my expiration date for the call was all the way in September, because I knew that eventually it would skyrocket because it was not trying to drop below $11. So that's when I'm about to buy. And then lo and behold, right, try to get back to the resistance line, shot back up again. And then next thing you know, it kept shooting up, and now it's at 15. Right? What did I sell it for today? I sold it today. So mind you, I invested $76 in it, and I sold it today for $325. Right? It shot up 5% today. So if I were to try to buy that same contract I did, so I had it for September 16th. if I try to buy that same contract I did, see, I kind of missed out a bit because now that same contract is now worth 400 $449. That same contract I just sold today for $325 is now worth $449 because it skyrocketed. But that's all it is. All what I'm showing you here with the charts, it's incredibly helpful for stock options, because stock options you're entitled to 100 shares of the thing. If you don't have the 100 shares or can afford it, then they sell the contract for the value of the contract. So I used to engage in stock options sometimes until I started to not look at the graphs anymore and just went off of like what I thought in general. I wasn't studying anymore, so I ended up losing money and that sucked. So I kind of stuck away from it. But I might start going back into it again, just devoting 10% of my portfolio to stock options. Of course, you don't want to do stock options for like penny stocks unless you're ready to accept the risk. That was the other thing, by the way, guys, is that there are a lot of stock stimulators where if you don't want to use your money, you can use it to practice and stuff. So definitely look that up. Definitely look into that in case you are still new and still want to learn how to do stocks and everything like that. Like, there's a lot of simulators out there where you don't have to use your money. So that's gonna help you out big time. But yeah, no, it's literally just the fluency. Like, for example, if I was a trader now, right? If I decided to go back into Ford now, right? I would create a new ceiling and floor, right? So right here, I want to establish probably this right here as my new ceiling, right? So yeah, because this is the last bounce it had. So this will be my new ceiling. Let's make it blue. So this will be my new ceiling now. And we can make the last ceiling, which was here, the new floor. So we can make that blue as well. So if I'm a trader in stocks for Ford, I'm looking at this area here. So it's already midway. It already passed this point of resistance right here. Now it's going for this point of resistance. Now only two things are going to happen. This is why, again, stocks is just about educated guessing, right? Only two things will happen. Either this is going to happen, right? It's going to keep skyrocketing, right? Or what's going to happen is something along the lines of like a stagnant. So like you see these little marks where it's like that. Maybe it's going to go a zigzag and like do this. You kind of see it oftentimes when the market doesn't know what to do, basically. Like, and then if that happens, then this is the new ceiling here instead of up here. What you look for is just a price where you want to enter, right? No matter what, stocks of respectable companies goes up, right? You just want to enter the race where it's most profitable. That's all it is, right? It's gonna go up regardless, but if you're somebody who invested today, for example, into Ford, you didn't make as much as the person who invested literally last week or just 4 days ago. You didn't make as much as them. So even though y'all both benefited from it, that person down here made the most. But on top of that, though, you don't want to be the person that got it where it hit its tick up here, which is 1546, right? Because then when it dropped back down to here, which is how it finished at 1533, you would not see a profit. You would see a loss. And you're like, oh, how did that happen? You know, because it went down. Like, that's how literally, as you can see, the market is all about going down.